Well, maybe by the end of the week we'll have chili gazpacho, but today it's all about the cool weather outside. I'm making chicken minestrone soup. Now I'm going to top it off with some simple everything flatbreads that you can pick up just at the fresh market in the cracker aisle. And I'm going to top it with Parmesan cheese. We're going to sweat out the vegetables. We're going to cook the noodles right into the soup that makes it even more hearty and bring up a lot of flavor with some fresh fennel and other vegetables. It's easy, but most important, it's going to warm your soul in a day like today. So stay with me throughout the hour as I bring you a pot of chicken minestrone soup. I think it's a perfect thing to serve for the game. So we're sauteing some onions, just sweating them. I don't want them to get brown, with just a little pinch of crushed red pepper. That's going to give it a little pop. And I'm going to add some dry oregano. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take just some kitchen twine and some parsley and just 2 pieces of lemon peel should probably do it for a pot this size. And I'm going to tie the string up, and it's just going to make this really catch that piece of lemon there. And it's just going to make this really flavorful bunch that we're going to take out later on. Now you can stick the top parts of fennel right into that bundle, but I have them so big that I can just drop it right in. They're going to be removed when we start to eat this. Then we're going to add our chicken stock and broth. I usually do 50% stock to 50% broth. Of course, the broth is really going to give it that deeper flavor as well. And by all means, if you're looking to cut down on your sodium, read the labels and make sure that you get the lower sodium broth. I tend to make a lot of homemade stock, and I'll just keep it in the freezer and take it out as I need it for a recipe like this. So now we have, probably about 8 cups of broth stock in the pot. We've sauteed the onions, so we're going to bring this up to temperature a little bit more to really start getting hot. Once it gets hot, we're going to add bone-in chicken breasts. The reason why we use the bone-in is it's going to give it a lot more flavor. A boneless chicken breast, first of all, it's a waste of money to spend the extra money for boneless, and it's going to cook really quickly. Here you're going to get the flavor, the richness of the bone, but take the skin off because it'll add too much fat. So let's go ahead, once that's up to temperature, to put the chicken breasts in, and they'll cook for about, probably anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. Get that soaked down in there, and then you'll pull the chicken out. You'll let it sit for about 10 minutes just so you don't burn your hands, and the chicken will easily pull off the bone. So we'll do that, then we'll slice it into small pieces. Now when we come back, I'm going to add the vegetables and Parmesan rind, which is going to give it that wonderful hearty flavor. Just what you need tonight as you're cheering on your team. So to accompany this, instead of getting a loaf of bread, which would be wonderful, but I want to have a little bit less carbs, I picked up the everything flatbreads, and then I'm just taking some grated Parmesan, even Gruyere you could put on it, and I'm going to pop it in the oven at about 375 degrees, just for probably 2 to 3 minutes till the Parmesan just starts to begin to brown. It's going to be perfect. Now I also, whenever I buy Parmesan, I make sure that I save the rinds, that hard part on the outer part, and that goes right in the soup. It's wonderful when you're making pasta or soup to just put that rind in there. You're going to remove it when the soup is done because it will get almost glumpy. It kind of comes out looking like a dumpling. So that's when you'll take it out, but it will extract so much flavor. So now let's get to the vegetables. We're going to add some diced zucchini. The fennel, the bulb, we're going to dice that up a little bit, break that up, and then carrots and celery. And we're going to let this cook for probably just about 15 minutes is when it's going to come together. Once the vegetables are just starting to get tender, the chicken's taken out and pulled off the bone, then we're going to add noodles. Now normally I don't cook the noodles inside the soup because it keeps all the starch in, but minestrone, you want it a little bit thick, and the best way to do that is to cook the noodles in it. So once this comes back to a boil, we're going to add some spinach noodles that I had in my cabinet, and that will really complete the dish. We'll taste it, we'll make sure it's ready to go, and just before I scoop it up, just a little fresh lemon juice, not even a teaspoon, just to give that acid that's going to brighten it up, and it's going to be perfect when we serve it with some of that shredded cheese. So the flatbreads just have about another minute, and we're going to just check the seasoning just a bit on our new batch of soup, and as I thought, perhaps we could use a little more oregano. Now, when you look in your cabinet, when you're out shopping, I'm a salt fan. I have a whole cabinet that's filled with different salts. This has fennel pollen in it, so I really love how it expresses it. So I'll add some of that with it as well. And then we're just about ready to serve. So I've got the flatbreads in the oven. I've got the soup simmering. I'm going to put some fresh organic spinach in it. And then I guess Scott and John can just put their feet up and relax because they've got comfort in a bowl coming up real soon.
Too good for words. This is awesome. This soup is great. And these flatbreads, killer.
It's just simple, and it doesn't fill you up that much than a big loaf of bread, you know, but it's more substantial than a cracker, and I think it plays well with the balance of Parmesan in the soup and Parmesan on the cracker. So I think you're all set to put your jammies on tonight, your slippers, and watch the game and relax a little bit, right?
You make the best broth. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do it, but your broth is
you
awesome.
have to slow and low, slow and low,
Yeah.
slow and low. And if you're not going to have your own homemade, by all means, use like the Fresh Market. I really,
High quality
really
stuff.
like, yeah, the difference. It's worth it. Pay another buck, and it won't have MSG. So buy a good quality brand. And I'll remind everybody right
Fantastic.
now, you can go on the dining page to get this recipe and so much more. See our sponsored restaurants and see reviews and a great culinary tour. So you can get the recipe and tuck into some soup tonight, and I'll send it back to you, Scott.